Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, there's definitely war in the air and India is on alert. Diplomats on both sides might be saying that the situation needs to be diffused between India and China, but we are talking about reality on the ground as reflected by military experts across the board. And they say that China is raising temperatures beyond anything they've ever done before. There's no scaremongering. This is totally 100% real, because China, after threatening consequences along the border with India and threatening war against its Asian neighbor, has now started pumping in thousands of tons of military equipment in an unprecedented and suspicious manner into neighboring, just 7 hours from the Indian border. What is India to make of this outright belligerence, even as the governments of both sides try to defuse a very hot and a very tense standoff by troops on both sides in the Doklam area of Sikkim? War is definitely in the air. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, war may be a remote possibility between India and China, but the atmosphere is definitely one of conflict between the two Asian giants. As we speak, as I bring this broadcast to you this evening, China is pumping in thousands of tons in an unprecedented manner of military equipment into Tibet, just hours from the border with India. Remember, the standoff in the Sikkim area is already a month old and counting. Here's a look at this fresh belligerence from China. It's unmistakable. There's war in the air on the India-China border in Sikkim. In the midst of a ferocious word battle between both countries over the month-long standoff between their troops on the Doklam Plateau, China has now moved tens of thousands of tons of military equipment into Tibet. The disturbing deployment of forces is in northern Tibet, just 7 hours from the Indian border, creating a situation where enormous force can be deployed by China for war at a moment's notice. China's media mouthpieces have said that the vast haul was transported to the region by road and rail and comes at a time when China has just shown off brute force in an air assault exercise in the central provinces. This weekend, Chinese state media also flaunted videos of a major Chinese military exercise in Tibet involving live fire drills and anti-aircraft gunnery. As the Modi government grapples with this tense standoff with Chinese soldiers in the Sikkim area, echoes were also heard in Parliament.
China has moved its equipment, the military equipment, in Tibet.
I'm not commenting right now on China. It's a sensitive issue and I'm leaving it to the government to handle it effectively.
चीन हमेशा इस प्रकार से ही सभी को दबाव में धमकाकर लाकर जमीन हड़पना चाहता है.
This is very dangerous in the sense that China has been threatening and reminding us of 1962, and then the pressure is mounting on the border. I think our Union Ministry, Home Ministry will have to be agile.
With troops from both sides now locked in a tense embrace for over a month, China has taken the spotlight off the tiny tri-junction and lit up the entire disputed border between both countries.
As the standoff at Doklam continues for 1 month now, China appears to be taking the brinkmanship to another level. The Chinese media have been reporting that tens of thousands of tons of military equipment have been moved into Tibet as part of military exercises, but several Chinese strategic experts told the South China Morning Post that they believe this could be a pressure tactic aimed at bringing India to the negotiating table. Now it remains to be seen how all three countries can move towards a compromise of the stalemate at Doklam, even as China continues to flex its muscles. Reporting for India Today in Beijing, this is Anand Krishna.
Now please, ladies and gentlemen, don't for a moment think that there is any scaremongering or warmongering going on here. War is still possibly a remote option as far as India and China is concerned, but the indications are one of hostility, belligerence. There is a possibility, however small, of conflict, and it's unthinkable. I want to get the experts in on this. Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad is with us. Gaurav Sawant, our executive editor, is also with us. And I'm going to ask both of these gentlemen what they think and how they interpret these thousands of tons of equipment being moved in this suspicious manner into Tibet. But first, I want to show you a map to give you a perfect sense of where things really are. There is where the month-long standoff in the Doklam Plateau has been taking place, as you know right now. If you zoom out, everything you see in red right now is Tibet. And that is where China is really escalating tensions. They're pumping in troops, they're pumping in tanks, they're pumping in aircraft. There are exercises taking place over there, and all of it just hours from the actual border. Take a look at the orange line you see. That's the line of actual control between India and China, the disputed border. And remember, just 24 hours ago, China officially warned India that if it did not resolve this issue and back down from the face-off in the Doklam Plateau, then it should be prepared to face consequences of an all-out confrontation, not just here, but all along the line of actual control. See the length of that border in orange blinking there. That is the huge front that China shares with India and is currently under dispute. Now, I want to go straight across now to Gaurav Sawant and General Shankar Prasad. Gaurav, quickly to you first, because I want to get an update on what the government is saying. You know, there are many voices from the government, Gaurav, saying things are being blown out of proportion, diplomatic discussions are taking place, but the signals from across the border are unadulteratedly hostile, Gaurav.
They indeed are. In fact, China is trying to fight this battle in our mind. There is troop movement taking place on their side, but from what sources tell India today, there is no reason for India to be alarmed. This is China fighting the war in the adversary's mind or in India's mind, mentally putting India on the defensive even before a single bullet is fired. It's not that it's a cakewalk for China, but it's not even as if sources are talking about war. Government sources say it's time for everyone to take a deep breath, pause. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is headed to Beijing on the 25th onwards. 26th and 27th, there would be the BRICS National Security Advisors talks.
Yes.
And apart from BRICS, there's also a chance that a bilateral dialogue will be held, because both of them are also, taking care of the boundary issue. The National Security Advisor on the Indian side and Yang Jiechi on the Chinese side. So, again, they don't expect the balloon to go up in military parlance just as yet. So there's a lot of rhetoric coming from the Chinese side, total radio silence from the Indian side, diplomats across the world talking about this situation, but in very measured tones, saying China should follow international rules.
General Shankar Prasad, massive mind games. We've always known China to be, a master at mind games and psychological operations and power projections, etc. From a tactical perspective, sir, how would you interpret, the huge exercises, the displays of strength taking place? Of course, military exercises happen as is a normal course. The Indian military also engages in these exercises. But is there a special context? How would you interpret them taking place at the current time, General?
Let me start by making the very first statement that it will not be a good idea for China to launch any kind of war or any kind of skirmish against India at this point, and particularly in Doklam. There are very other large number of measures which can be taken by both countries to resolve the issue, and I'll leave it at that because that's not the primary question that you've asked me. I can go on that bit a little more, but I'll leave it there for the moment. Your question today is this: yes, when any country which is neighboring and having a problem for the last 4 or 5 weeks. In fact, this Bhutanese problem has been brewing for some length of time. It's just not 1 month. It's been brewing for some length of time. And there is a requirement. If you look at the major picture, China is wanting to project itself as a power here, and wanting to show India as an inferior country, while India is trying to gain its own power, both economically and otherwise. The most important sentence that I want to use before I again go to the tactical picture is that particularly China and many other neighbors are not happy with India's progress in the economic field. Look at the way our Sensex is going up, and our single point objective to eliminate terrorism from here, which is causing some concern to people who are interested in seeing that India continues to face terrorism. As far as tactical preparation is concerned, while all of what China is doing is very well, And since the very fact that such a lot of information has been fed in, of exercises, of logistic support, clearly indicates there are enough equipments, enough resources available to pre-gauge what's going on. It's not 1962. We've got drones, we've got air photographs, we've got varieties of ways and means to find out what kind of build-up is taking place. It's not going to be surprised suddenly one fine morning that you have the Chinese climbing on top of us.
So true, very true.
The second more important point that I want to bring about is the lay of the ground. Particularly in Dokulam, the way the troops are deployed, particularly of the Indian Army, is in a far more dominating position than what the Chinese can expect to get. In fact, the whole fight is about trying to get a more dominating ground, which China doesn't possess today. Unless China gets a foothold on the watershed near Dokulam and on the west of it, they will find that they are unable to really militarily use the Dokulam plateau. Should they want to bring tanks on it today, I can tell you with all the knowledge that I possess, we have enough weapons and equipment.
Absolutely, General, you make a very good point. That's one of the reasons they don't have the advantage, and that's probably why they're talking about confrontations across the entire line of actual control. I'm coming back to you, General. I just want to bring our man on the ground just for a moment. I want to bring our man on the ground. I'm coming back to you. Anant Krishnan, our correspondent in Beijing, is with us. Anant, brinkmanship increasing with every passing minute. What is your interpretation from the ground, Anant?
Well, that's right. They do seem to be taking the brinksmanship to another level. We've had various kinds of statements, of course, relentlessly these past 2 weeks. But today, the PLA Daily and a couple of other media outlets reporting that a massive amount of equipment had been transported by road and rail. This isn't close to Sikkim, but it seems to be in northern Tibet near the Kunlun Mountains. But it is certainly muscle flexing and signaling. And what the reports were saying was that with 2 military exercises held on the Tibetan plateau in the last few weeks, that these huge transfers of logistics was done as part of these exercises. And strategic experts, in fact, told the South China Morning Post, ex-PLA officers said that in their view, this was signaling to India that, well, it's time for you to come to the negotiating table, since China had the firepower at its disposal. But it is a questionable tactic, given that it could very well backfire, and as well as reduce the space for de-escalation, given that China seems to be digging in its heels rather than trying to look for a compromise.
General, you wanted to finish your point, and I also wanted to add one small question, and then I'm coming to you, Gaurav. Is there a risk, General, of things flaring up, tactically at the border? There's an eyeball-to-eyeball situation, given the war of words, given style actions there, moving of troops, exercises, etc. Is there a possibility that things could spiral out of control at all?
Yes, certainly. You see, war is not a game of just kind of a war game. It's an actual situation. And one trigger-happy man on one side can cause a serious problem, which is why a lot of restraint is necessary. And the restraint is being exercised by not blaring it out all the time, not going absolutely berserk on our media, on our newspaper, and making our Indian soldiers go a bit more tense. Everybody is very tense at the moment. The answer is to maintain your cool, but prepare. And I was talking about the ground layout where we last left. If you look at the configuration of the ground, particularly north of where the incident is taking place, it goes into the Chumbi Valley. Now that lends itself to an excellent opportunity of interdiction. Interdiction by our Air Force, which is why perhaps they're doing anti-aircraft gun preparation, and the fire itself can cause a lot of interdiction. Now, interdiction means they're unable to build sufficient number of people to bring upon our defensive positions. So, we have guns, we have tanks, we have all kinds of varieties of equipment now available. We don't have to go tom-tom about it in the whole of media as to how many tanks, how many guns, how many paratroopers, how many drones, this, that and the other we've got there. But we know, you and I know, that we have these equipments. These equipments are not going to be lying in Ambala today. They must be doing something somewhere. And therefore, while the preparation for war is going on with a big splash on the media in China, perhaps equal amount of preparation is going on in Indian side without having to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it.
Absolutely, very good point, General. I want to make a quick question to Gaurav. Final question, 30 seconds, Gaurav. With the National Security Advisor Doval now headed to Beijing for those, the BRICS talks, is the door open for talks? Is that China basically indicating that finally this is going to have a diplomatic solution?
The 1st of August is when China's army would want to celebrate in a big way, and this is what it's all building up to. But will they be able to celebrate? Do they expect India to blink before that? 26th, 27th is when the National Security Advisor, 25th onwards, he'd be in Beijing.
Okay.
So will there be a solution then? Shiv, and with China, you expect the unexpected. It's not that something may just happen at the Doklam Plateau. Something could happen in the middle sector. Something could happen in eastern Ladakh. And that is where, all across the eyes wide open everywhere, whether it's the drones, whether it's the satellites, you're keeping an eye on what's happening. The powder is being kept dry. This is a battle of the nerves. Whoever blinks first. And from all indications, India does not intend to blink, nor does India intend to pull China into some kind of a conflict. And that is why, Shiv, no statement whatsoever from anyone in government of India.
Absolutely. Talk with a sense of calm, but keep your powder dry, keep your guns ready. Gentlemen, thank you so much. General Gaurav and Anand, thank you so much for joining us. One of Mumbai's biggest, most popular radio jockeys is in a spot of a very ugly controversy after the Mumbai Municipal Corporation has cracked the whip on RJ Malishka. The BMC has issued a notice to this RJ for allowing Kamala Hassan has been very busy abusing the Tamil Nadu government, criticizing it as a citizen and engaging in an ugly word war with ministers threatening to get him arrested and accusing him of publicity hunger. Well, Kamala Hassan, the con from the south, joins Rajinikanth, his compatriot and his co-star from the Tamil film industry, to become the two big stars who could be making a political plunge really soon. While Rajinikanth has dilly-dallied on a decision, Kamala Hassan, unafraid to be in the spotlight, has provided more and more indications that he could be ready to make some kind of political entry. Who do you think makes a better Neta? That's the question we're asking. But before that, we've got some breaking news coming in. It's the next installment in the ugly fight between the Tamil Nadu government and Kamala Hassan over his criticism of the Palanisamy administration. Kamal does not know anything about politics, says the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister. Let him express his opinions after he enters politics. Then I will reply to him, says this passive-aggressive response from Chief Minister E. Palanisamy, who's been under criticism for the last few days for not reining in his ministers, who've been raining abuse on the superstar Kamala Hassan for his words of criticism of the Tamil Nadu government. Well, Kamala Hassan has said that this is a government obsessed with corruption and has nothing to do with governance. Palanisamy has been seen to be complicit with his ministers who, on a serial basis, 3 ministers across 3 days have abused Kamala Hassan. And now, for the first time, the Chief Minister has broken his silence and said, Kamal knows nothing about politics. Let him express his opinions. Let him enter politics, and only then I will reply to him, is what Palanisamy, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, has said. Let's go straight across to India today. Is Pramod Madhav. Pramod, Palanisamy, the Chief Minister, finally breaking his silence on this entire issue. His ministers have been abusing Kamala Hassan on a daily basis. Are we expecting Kamala Hassan to respond to this? Because this is very, very hostile. It's very insulting. He's basically saying he knows nothing about politics. Let him enter politics, then I'll reply to him.
Well, Shiv, I have to tell you that two major things occurred since yesterday night. There were 2 tweets by Kamal Hassan. It was more like a puzzle and like a really word of jumbles, like only Kamal Hassan can decode, but it finally meant like who can be a king, who should be the chief minister, who should be the leader. That was the notion, but entirely it was a different scenario when we had the day early morning. And when it comes to the chief minister, I think he should be pretty happy about the bonanza that he has offered to all the MLAs with 100% hike. Maybe that's the reason he was ready to speak about Kamal Hassan itself. He came out and, like you mentioned, he said that Kamal Hassan knows nothing about politics, and when he comes to politics, it's almost in the line of Jayakumar, who almost challenged Kamal Hassan, claiming like later if he wants to criticize the government, let him come to the political ring. Maybe that's why the chief minister also is taking the same line, asking Kamal Hassan to enter politics and then criticize them. It kind of seems pretty odd. Maybe they are like, I would say that they are completely judging Kamal Hassan in a low angle, claiming that Kamal knows only about cinema. Had they seen Kamal Hassan's cinema, they would know that how he takes things seriously. And Kamal Hassan's circle clearly mentions that if Kamal Hassan comes to politics, it's going to be definite trouble for AIADMK Shiv.
I think the government has definitely underestimated its adversary this time around. First with Rajnikant, now with Kamal Hassan. He's the angry man of the Tamil film industry. How could they possibly think they can get into a kind of rhetorical war with a person like Kamal Hassan who knows what he's talking about? Pramod, stay with me. I want to take our viewers through this word war, because Kamal Hassan has definitely admitted that there is a political void in Tamil Nadu. He's never said yes or no about entering politics, but he has said that there is a requirement for some kind of messiah to land in Tamil Nadu and rescue the people from this government and other politicians who care about nothing else. Take a look.
I have entered politics the moment I marked my finger.
A cryptic tweet followed by a clarification. Tamil actor and movie veteran Kamal Hassan posted a tweet in Tamil, hinting at taking a plunge into politics. With just a few words, the star has fanned frenzied speculation into an absolute storm. Known for his often controversial statements, Kamal Hassan posted a cryptic poem in which he says there is no minister. He goes on to ask whether those who kneel are just slaves, and issues a call for unity from the people. He says, "Friends, come join me, for the only way to stop this idiocy is to be the first to fight it." Kamal Hassan also clarified for those who do not understand that there will be news about the same the next day. However, suspense still remains.
I have entered politics the moment I marked my finger with the electoral voting mark in my finger. So I have entered politics, and but I'm not a politician. I'm doing my duty as the citizen of India.
So is Kamal taking the political plunge? Is the man who loves taking on the powers that be finally ready to put his money where his mouth is? And is Tamil Nadu ready for another superstar Neta? Bureau Report, India Today.
So as we stand, the prospect is of two of Tamil cinema's biggest superstars on the possible threshold of a political entry. You've heard all about the possibility of Rajnikant entering politics. With Kamal Hassan, the atmosphere is even thicker. What we've done is we've actually compared the two. Who would actually make a better politician if at all they choose to take the plunge? Would it be Rajni Talaiva or would be Ulaganayagan Kamal Hassan? Take a look at this face-off.
Two superstars with cult following now seem to be chasing one common goal, transitioning from the silver screen to the political theatre of India. First, it was Talaiva who hinted at his political debut.
ஆதாயத்துக்காக நான் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணிருக்கேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்க கிட்ட வந்து சொல்றது, அதுக்காக நான் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு எலெக்ஷன் வரும்போதும் என்னுடைய ஆதரவு யாருக்கும் இல்லை அப்படிங்கிற சூழ்நிலைக்கு நான் தள்ளப்படுறேன்.
And now, after months of political activism, it's actor Kamal Hassan who has given a clear indication about his intent.
Would you enter politics?
I have entered politics the moment I marked my finger with the electoral voting mark in my finger. So I have entered politics, and but I'm not a politician. I'm doing my duty as the citizen of India.
Both Rajnikant and Kamal Hassan's latest political punches have the making of another big political blockbuster. If and when these two superstars enter politics, it will be a clash of the titans. But who will make a better Neta among these two Abhinetas? Apart from being bold and vocal about issues, Kamal Hassan's social media reach is what works in his favour. Another big plus is that Hassan is a good orator in Tamil, has a good fan base and is known as an intellectual. But his biggest advantage in a state that takes its identity seriously is that he is the Tamilian from Madurai. There are, however, questions about whether Hassan is really serious about politics. Will he be able to stand his ground among shrewd politicians? And the most crucial one, can he convert his popularity into votes? He has already made a few enemies in the political circles, which could be a disadvantage for Kamal Hassan. All eyes have been on Rajnikant's political entry, but can the crowd puller make a successful vote getter? Rajnikant's mass appeal is unmatched. The fact that he has no big rivals make him a safe bet for political parties. His easy charm and humility make him connect with the people instantly. His patience is a virtue, as is his skill of making sharp attacks without explicitly hurting anyone. The superstar has kept his cards close to his chest and has every political party wooing him. What doesn't work in Rajni's favour is the fact that he is still viewed as an outsider. He's been undecided about politics for over 2 decades now and has been criticised for not standing up for causes spontaneously. Since Jayalalitha's death, there has been a political vacuum in the state of Tamil Nadu. It's now clearly established that the BJP wants Rajnikant in its fold. But now, with Kamal Hassan hinting at entering politics, can he too help the lotus bloom in Tamil Nadu? With Priyamvada in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Pramod Madhav is still with us. Pramod, I'm a huge fan, I know you are as well, of both Rajnikant and Kamal Hassan. My personal view is that Kamal Hassan would probably be better cut out to be a politician. What do you think? Do you think Kamal Hassan has more of a stomach for politics and the rough and tumble of how we know Tamil Nadu politics is? Or do you think Rajni would suit it better?
Well, Shiv, as we are dealing with confirmed speculations, let me just tell you that Kamal Hassan and Rajnikant are like two eyes to us, and one is based on creativity and the other one is on logic thing. So like Kamal Hassan is somebody who completely deals with logic, and he has already made it very clear that he is an extension of the Dravidism culture. He has very much made it clear that he supports Dravidianism, unlike Rajnikant, who has not yet brought out his ideology anywhere until now. But I got to tell you that just by like overlaying something that Arjun Sampath, the Hindu Makkal Kachi that is completely protesting against Kamal Hassan, be it Big Boss or anything that he does, is in complete favour of Rajnikant. This itself is a one point that will clearly state out what is the ideology Rajnikant might go ahead with and what Kamal Hassan is going ahead with. And also in the present, 2 days back, MK Stalin, the hope of DMK, even extended his support to Kamal Hassan, claiming that he is the voice of the people. Maybe this is another development that is also coming across. You never know. Tamil Nadu is in a highly volatile state right now. The last days of assembly is over.
Yes.
And on that particular day, EPS itself gets rattled up and gives a reply to Kamal Hassan. But you see, Kamal Hassan yesterday clearly said that these criticisms are nothing but just a mushroom which will fade off when the sun appears. That's what he has said yesterday. We don't know what the sun means, DMK or whatever it is, but we can clearly say one thing: Kamal Hassan, a pure atheist, will definitely go with Dravidian culture, and if he enters politics, he, being a good and a great orator, will definitely attract people, Shiv.
Terrific piece of analysis, Pramod. You're absolutely right. There's a volatile situation. There's a political void in Tamil Nadu, and anything can happen. As you and I, both of us are Chennai boys, we both know that superstars have entered Tamil politics with a great degree of success in the past. There's Jayalalitha, there's MGR, there are others, and there is no saying. It is not beyond the realm of possibility, ladies and gentlemen, like Pramod and his team have been reporting, that Kamal Hassan and Rajnikant could be the next netas from Tamil Nadu. Pramod, thanks so much for joining us. Breaking news coming in here on 5 Live. If a shameless 100% pay hike for Tamil Nadu netas wasn't enough, here comes another shocker from the Tamil Nadu E. Palaniswamy government. Ignoring acute drinking problems in the state and farming water crisis in Tamil Nadu, the government has allowed the export of beer, which is a water-intensive industry. Well, this essentially means popping up of more water-guzzling breweries in the state. The Tamil Nadu Assembly has cleared 25 bills, including salary hike, export of beer in a single day before a sine die adjournment. A huge drought, a farmer agrarian crisis faces the state, but the priorities for the Tamil Nadu government are doubling their own salaries, the MLAs and legislators, and clearing the possibility of exporting beer from Tamil Nadu. It's a semi-prohibition state, but they want to export beer. Those are the priorities of the government. Let's go straight across to Pramod Madhav live with us. Pramod, the amazing priorities of the Palaniswamy government. They're so busy abusing Kamala Hassan and others. They think that the media's attention will be away from these shameful decisions that they're making, doubling their salaries and clearing the export of beer now.
Well, very much so. As we are speaking about water, you could see that we are being blessed by rain here. Tamil Nadu and Chennai is definitely of this need of this rain, because completely there is no water anywhere across Chennai or the whole state. It's for that manner, because we are facing severe drought. At this point, as you mentioned, it was Diwali and Pongal for all the MLAs inside the assembly. 100% pay hike. The salary has been increased from 55,000 to 1,05,000. The basic has gone up to 30,000. Phone bills from 5,000 to 7,000. And the constituency management front has been increased from 2 crores to 2.5 crores.
Yes.
It was an absolute bonanza for them. CM EPS had kept it as a surprise. But when we confronted the DMK and asked them what they think about it, well, DMK MLAs claimed that this was absolutely not necessary at this point, because they could have concentrated more on the farmer issue. People are riddled with debt, and farmers are going all the way to Delhi to fight across it. Why? What was it necessary for it?
Absolutely.
That is the question posted by DMK. In fact, they are also claiming that the state is in a crisis, finance crisis up to 5 lakh crores. And the DMK MLAs are claiming like they could have completely managed this. We were not in need of a salary, but still they are not complaining against it. The person, the MLA who brought this thing into the assembly was Mr. Prince. He clearly mentioned that this was only for the reason that they could go ahead and meet with the people shift. That's the reason they have brought it, it seems. And about the beer fact, exactly, like the clause, the 2 clause that has been like cleared by today's bill, Tangamani, the minister, was the one who has cleared it. It is also by DMK criticized very badly, claiming like, for now, beer export is not something Tamil Nadu requires. More and serious matters are on the table, and they should have taken care of it, Shiv.
Salaries of the MLAs and beer export for the state. Please look at those two things. Those are the two things that the Tamil Nadu government believes are a priority. A staggering 100% pay hike, as Pramod was just mentioning, for its MLAs in the assembly is the first decision by this assembly. This even as farmers from the state continue to protest in the capital, seeking relief from their mounting debts. The opposition too has raised the issue of a pay hike for MPs in parliament. So are our netas, putting themselves before the people, obviously.
It's perks over people for netas in Tamil Nadu as CM EPS announced 100% pay hike for all MLAs in the assembly, from 55,000 to more than 1 lakh rupees. Hike in pension from 12,000 to 20,000. Basic pay hike from 8,000 to 30,000. Constituency allowance from rupees 2 crore to rupees 6 crore. Additional burden on state exchequer, 20 crore. Ironically, this bonanza for MLAs was announced even as farmers from the state relaunched their protest in Delhi seeking loan waivers, a demand which has fallen on deaf ears to the powers that be.
If their salary is 1,10,000, you please give 5% to 5%. And we are beggar. We are the slave. We are the 4th grade citizen of India.
This move by the Tamil Nadu government to reward themselves when farmers in the state are in deep distress may seem cruel and insensitive to many. But the opposition, DMK, was cautious in its criticism, even refusing to react to it initially.
We'd rather the farmers celebrate a better Diwali or a Pongal, than MLAs. I think it's an absurd timing. It's not something which we requested. It was all stage played if you look at it.
Pay hike demand in Parliament, pro-farmer rhetoric outside of it, with Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi leading the charge.
GST के लिए पार्लियामेंट को 12 बजे रात खोला जा सकता है, मगर किसान के मुद्दे के लिए पार्लियामेंट में 1 मिनट बात नहीं हो सकती। यह है एनडीए की, बीजेपी की सच्चाई।
As farmers continue to suffer, netas continue with their lip service. But when it comes to action, it seems it's self over service for our leaders.
A huge bonanza for the MLAs of Tamil Nadu Assembly, where they have hit the jackpot. 100% pay hike, which makes an MLA salary jump from 55,000 to 1.05 lakhs. But the question of the hour is, do they need this pay hike when Tamil Nadu is in such a financial crisis? Close to 5 lakh crores of financial crisis. And on the other hand, we have the farmers who are fighting, who are requesting, who are protesting for their loans to be waived off. The question only the Chief Minister can answer. In Chennai, Pramod Madhav for India Today.